And it is time for Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTK. If you're listening, you are probably bobbing your head up and down like we are in the studio. If you're watching the stream, you're probably asking why we're doing that because you don't hear the music on the video
it's so
stream.
Sad. It's so sad.
The legal, royalties and that kind of stuff. But Miz always. Thing is, Devin, what you don't know is that Miz always picks the music on like Sunday.
Yeah.
He sets it up for us on Monday. I have nothing to do with it. It's always great music for Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner.
Miz the man.
And we all just kind of do the same thing.
Me and DG, I mean, that ride down.
That stinky ride.
Listen,
from Grand Traverse down
I was never
here.
going to bring that.
Not Grand Traverse's fault, by the way. Grand Traverse Resort, great place. You guys had a
was-
great time on that trip.
And I was never going to bring that up. As
Is that
far
Wolverine
as
weekend, the
beef
first
jerky. It was
First
the
Wolverine
jerky.
weekend.
It was the jerky, Miz.
but we were vibing on the way back to town. We were,
Windows down, freezing cold.
but you were playing the mix. I'm like, okay, I
Helps you
know.
stay awake with the windows cold down and it's cold outside too after a long weekend. So that's probably not such a bad thing.
Man.
But I knew what music to kind of come up with when
That's
you
right.
said, Miz,
that will not-
give us some bangers. I'm like,
This is
all right.
not the theme of the Monday Morning Quarterback, but the music is great. And we wanted to give Miz his credit.
Of course.
And this is also not the theme, but I have to ask DG, you ever throw a 65-yard Hail Mary?
Did I? Yeah, I think.
Did you?
I don't think it's 65 through it.
He threw the ball. The Daniels yesterday, he with all the run around, he threw it from the 35-yard line.
That was like when he started going back. I'm like, man, I
Where
don't
you
know if he's
going?
gonna be able to get it there.
Yeah, he threw it 65 in the air.
He got it there.
Plenty there, yeah.
Plenty. And it's the perfect throw high.
I know.
Because usually if you throw it that far, you can't get it that high because you got to get the distance. He threw it nice and high, the perfect ricochet. Ugh, he's so good.
I know you love good throws. I know you love ball. You love good throws. You love good. I wanted you to have a chance to.
Oh yeah,
Almost like he ran back to a spot knowing that spot.
Well, you practice it, right? You practice it, and because the thing is, you have to give your guys time to get down there and get position, right?
Yeah.
So it's always good for the guy that can move around. That's why Aaron Rodgers has great success, right? But he moved around a little more than you usually do, just because he's one of the best athletes on the field, and
it helped the linemen stop running after a while. But
how about the DB for the Bears? Just dumb. You doing your little deal. You doing
all
la,
the
la,
quarter.
la, la, la. You're talking to the fan.
He emoted too early before he got the
He
dub.
ran back in.
The play started when he was still talking.
Right.
But then he ran around so much.
He found a way to get back to the play.
And he's the one that tipped it right to
the guy. Yeah. And again, that's not the theme of the show, but I know you love good play, you love good ball, you love good throws, and that throw is unbelievable.
Just unbelievable.
But
I got mine from, against Northwestern, though.
That's right.
Where they left him one-on-one with like 10 seconds left. What are you doing? Fine, here goes. He's down there somewhere.
We see strategy, and we'll probably have conversations about this at some point over the course of Monday Morning Quarterbacks where you're like, what are you at the end of a half or end of a game? The play before the Hail Mary, I don't know what the Bears are doing. They get free yard, but all right, on to Michigan State.
Yeah.
Michigan gets the win.
Woo!
Paul stays home.
Woo!
Feel good?
Let's go.
Woo!
Woo!
A little something extra.
Oh man, it didn't. It wasn't a whole bunch of confidence going in this one, but man, they figured it out, didn't they?
Found a way.
That's all that matters. And it just in the fight, the interview for Colson Loveland after was really good. He's very a matter of fact about all the stuff, and it's fun to watch just because this is about as down as Michigan has been, right? You play what three or four quarterbacks? Seems like four technically when you add Donovan in there, who continues to be the best throwing quarterback on the roster. Oh my goodness. This guy is money. Is he 100% in his career?
100%.
I think
this guy has the greatest passer rating in the history of Michigan football.
Two tutties, 4 for 4.
2 touchdowns and 2 first downs. Yeah,
I believe when I saw the stat on Twitter Sunday,
like 1,000 QB rating, huh?
I think they said it's like over 500. I'm like,
this is
it's
unbelievable.
perfect. It's basically perfect.
Yeah,
Whatever that perfect
no,
is.
it's past perfect. Jerichoff, have a seat because we are 2 for 2 touchdowns, not just completing all of our passes. You got like passes that don't.
Did you hear? So after the game, they did the interview with him. I think it was Jason Avant had the post game interview with him in the locker room. Jason's a good job, and he was talking to him, and he asked him, "So, pretty good quarterback?" And he's like, "Mate," and he's like, "It wouldn't work." Donovan's loyal. He's very, Donovan's got a great personality. Very good. He's like, "Yeah, it wouldn't work." Yeah, but he's really funny about it.
I wouldn't be mad at giving him 2 or 3 passes a game.
I know. Don't punt on the idea.
But you don't want to mess up his perfect QB rating. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
So it seemed like that Michigan State's strategy in this game was, we will not let Khalil Mullings and Donovan Edwards beat us on the ground.
Smart, super smart. I mean, Coach Smith is a really good coach, and you kind of thought that would be the plan coming in. Is like, we're not about to let you run the ball. Prove to me, without a shadow of a doubt, that you can throw the football, period. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're not allowing you to run the football, and they succeeded for the most part in that. But that's why it's crazy. They still lost the game. They had the perfect plan. I was looking at this because, you're looking at the game. It's like, okay, yeah, things are going good and, whatever. Total yards, more.
By almost 100.
Passing yards, more. Rushing yards, more.
And that's the one, it's like 49 of now the last 55 times these teams match up. The rushing team, the rushing winner wins the game, yeah.
Yards per play. Not a whole bunch more, but still more. First downs, more.
They ran 14 more plays.
Total plays, more. Punts, less. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Time possession.
15 minutes.
Much more.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
But the two things where they had more, again,
14, but yeah.
The two categories where they had more, fumbles lost and penalties. Lost you the game. Because if you don't fumble that football right before half, and I talked to the young quarterback, and I'm so glad it happened because I'm using that video to show, stop with the one hand thing. Mm-hmm. Stop it. Right? You're running and it's always the guy you don't see. And it just takes one guy who gives everything they got and they won't stop, which you hate playing against those kind of players because you don't have any freedom to do anything. And they just sell out and boom, there goes the ball. All right. So, and that's their issue. Michigan State, I'm not going to say they're a good football team. They're not a bad football team. However, they can't stop turning the ball over no matter what. They protect their quarterback, right? They finally like, okay, we're going to protect you so you can't throw interceptions. And then he fumbles. And it's just like, if I'm Smith, I'm like, what did I do to deserve this?
I understand why they even ran that play. They had a timeout.
Yeah, of course. But you don't want to.
The play before, if Michigan doesn't have a bad run defense on the play before, that play doesn't even happen.
Yeah.
They gained 14 yards. It felt like.
So then they're like, hey, we can go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so maybe you slow it down you don't want to spike it on a dead ball because it was a first down so you can run up. But yeah, Michigan, Josiah Stewart's engine his motor's unbelievable.
I love watching him
and his
play,
closing
man.
speed.
Oh, he accelerates like a running back that sees daylight.
And you don't hear him. Yeah, you don't hear him. He was behind him. You didn't hear him.
He doesn't make any noise when he's running.
Coming,
some guys are like very loud runners. Like,
I feel like he's quiet.
He's like creeping like a mouse. This is weird.
And the other stat, you bring in the two stats that are the difference in the game. The third one that goes into that is Michigan was 3 for 3 in the red zone. Mm-hmm. Michigan State was 2 for 4.
Yeah, it's not a winning recipe. So a lot of kudos to the staff, the quarterbacks, everybody involved, because, to lose all those categories and still win the football game, that's amazing, right? And that just shows a team that knows how to win, right? And for the last 3 years, we know they have been dominant, right? They've all felt winning. They've all tasted winning. And the guys that are going to make the plays, Colston Loveland made a bunch of plays. They know how to win. No matter how not good the team is or the quarterback's not playing well or the defense gives some stuff up, if the game's close, right, it feels like they know how to win. And on the other side, Michigan State does not know how to win just yet. So, I mean, that's the difference.
And just a total aside, because you'll appreciate this story. We're in the press box. The Josiah Stewart comes and he makes the play. And KG falls on the ball. And Sam
was so pissed. This is your chance to show us.
Sam is almost falling out of his chair laughing because he goes, he should have scooped. He can't scoop down and
he's too big. So getting all the way down there is just
Doug
like,
even says he plopped on the ball. Like he might have flattened the ball, but he plopped on the ball.
Oh, that ball didn't have any air. The ball didn't have any air at all. I was watching
Stupid.
And I'm like, oh my God, those knees are about to get so high. He's going to score a touchdown.
6-6.
And then no.
He flopped
No. Kenneth, I am very unhappy with you. And I'm sure you're unhappy with yourself.
That was not smooth jazz.
That was not smooth jazz. The 98 points set. That wasn't. I'm so disappointed in you. So disappointed.
Sam almost fell out of his chair laughing. It was really funny.
Kenneth fell out of his chair.
Yeah, he had to.
Yeah, man.
But they got the points they needed.
Hopefully he kept that ball.
And there's something about the ability for a team, and they could have done it anyway without actually stopping them because they scored the touchdown. They didn't get the extra point, but they scored the touchdown, and they had that opening possession the next half.
Yeah.
So they were able to stack 3 scores on top of each other and turn a 7-0 into a 2-score lead with Michigan State running 2 plays.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was the fumble. That's part of your winning recipe. Is that when I hosted Ron English's radio show, the amount of times
I like Ron English,
and we had a lot of fun even in an 0-12 year and some other pretty not good years of football. There were so many games though, and this has stuck in my head since then. There were so many games where they were within a score, and the opposing team had the ball at the end of the half, and they could not stop them from scoring. And then that team got the ball to begin the second half, and it just snowballs. And in this, it didn't quite snowball as much as we would have loved it to, because then you win by more than.
Yeah, like I said, Smith is a good coach.
But they were able to come out of the second half and stack on top of that. And since halftime, I had Steve on the right side, I had Sam on the left, and I was like, "We're winning."
Like I'm Ron Burgundy.
Exactly.
Right? It was like a question mark, and then we're winning. And it's like, all right, we'll take it. You know what I mean? It was
exactly what I said.
And I was sitting watching. I had LSU game on. I had the Michigan State game on, and going to dinner after my game and stuff. And I always go to dinner and bring my iPad and set it up. It's like there's no way I'm not watching football. I don't care what dinner place we're at. But I'm watching. I'm just like this. It's just you're just so uneasy the entire time. And you don't know what's going to happen, but, man, they pulled it through, and I was so happy for Alex Orji getting a chance to get in there. And like I talked about from the beginning, having multiple reps in real games running the football is going to make you a better runner. He looked like a much better runner. I saw him progress gaps. I saw him get on the edge. I mean, it was really impressive to see his development as a runner, right? And so it looks like, is he turned into what you thought he could be because of his physical tools as a runner? And I really enjoyed watching his ability, and obviously he deserves to. I mean, I'm not the deserve guy, honestly, but because of his work, because of the things he's dealt with, and I'm really happy that he got a chance to get in the end zone and essentially be the deciding touchdown. And then for Davis Warren, who was cast away, right? Cast away and turned the ball over. Good job by the coaching staff to make it fairly vanilla, to make sure you protect him from himself, but when he was asked to make plays, he made some plays, and that's also good for him, right? Because imagine the emotional state he's in. I got my dream. I got the chance to be the quarterback in Michigan, and it was taken away. Well, I gave it away, right, by throwing interceptions, but it was taken away, and I may not ever get another chance. And the last thing everybody saw from me was was no incompletions because I threw the ball to the other team 3 times, right? And so, I mean, it's amazing to see him get that opportunity and do well with it, and all be against a rival, right? This is huge, right? This is not like you played Toledo, Northwest. You know what I mean? This is I mean, I guess you get a trophy game for Northwestern also,
that's true.
But
that's true.
It's a trophy game. But
I was thinking more about the level of what Northwestern is this
year.
It's
not the level, right? It's not Michigan State, especially in a year where everybody. Well, I don't know if everybody picked Michigan State to win, but I'm pretty sure a fair number of people picked Michigan State to win. And you get your second opportunity, not to mention your buddy gets his opportunity, and you guys work together to make sure that Michigan wins. Loved it. It was great.
All right, I'm going to get into Devin's driving force report now, because which is brought to you by Golden Limousine. It's time for your drive update with Golden Limousine International at the wheel, and Devin on the mic. For 31 years, Golden Limousine has been focused on the goal to provide safe, excellent, and reliable transportation services. They provide charter bus transport for Michigan athletes. I've seen the buses a lot lately as the teams are going out and about, and I'm driving by campus and see them come through. It's a really comfortable way to travel.
I can see them. Yeah, I'm busy though.
You're a working man.
I'm working man.
You can find them online at goldenlimo.com. That's goldenlimo.com. We ride on Golden. Michigan rides on Golden. That's goldenlimo.com. So every Monday we do a final verdict with Joe Simon. He provides some questions for Sam, and he gave Sam some questions. And when Sam's not here, I answer them essentially as a judge in absentia. And then we save the questions for later. But there were 2 in particular that I was like, I even said, I'm going to have to bring these back up with DG when he gets here. So I'm going to use this as kind of the launching point for the driving force report.
Yeah.
And I'll throw both of them at you, because it's kind of about how the season has played out.
Don't throw it too hard.
They're not too hard. Okay. Going back, he's talked about the offense, and it looked like it took some steps forward this week in the offense. Did it feel like, was it a shift in the offensive scheme, or were they holding things back? And my thing was, it was more the coaches comfortable in what they're calling and knowing that the players are comfortable in what the menu is small. And the menu is just getting a little bigger week to week. That was one of the things he talked about. And the other one that he asked with the hindsight, with benefit of the hindsight, do you think we should have stayed with this quarterback combination from the start, despite the turnovers? Or do you think, I'll add to it, do you think that how it played out, that it kind of helped them play as well as they did, as well as they played on Saturday?
Well, for me, I think that it was a relatively vanilla plan. And honestly, you have examples of the turnovers that Davis Warren, every quarterback struggles with. We're not quite Alex Orji, but you have examples throughout the season of what turnovers they struggle with, right? When is the time where they're going to turn the ball over, right? So with all that data, you can formulate a plan to stay away from those things, right? Stay away from the plays that it looks like, okay, these are the plays that we're turning the ball over on. Let's stay away from that to make sure that we protect the ball, because it's always a theme in games is like, hey, you win the turnover battle, you got a really good high percentage chance of winning the football game. But for Michigan, I think it's much greater. All right. If they don't turn the ball over, you saw they lost every single category essentially and still won the game. Right. And so I think that the coaching staff saw that and said, okay, Davis Warren is a serviceable quarterback. Are we going to beat all the big teams with Davis Warren? They probably believe so because they're confident, but us normal humans that have real brains, probably not. Right. However, most teams on your schedule, you can beat them if you don't turn the ball over, right?
Illinois. You beat Illinois, yeah.
You beat Illinois, maybe. I mean, we don't know because it's hindsight's 2020 and whatever. But if you don't turn the ball over, I think you have a really good chance to beat Illinois. I mean, I don't know who else is on the schedule, but we know who the big ones are on the schedule where just Washington not turning the ball over is Washington game. If you don't turn the ball over, you likely probably win that game. But you know, Oregon, Ohio State, those are the two teams is you're probably maybe and just not turn it over.
That's 7-1 and not 5-3. And you may not look like your things are great, but you're 7-1 and not 5-3.
And then 7-1 and not 5-3. 7-1, you look at it and you're like, well, when we get to Oregon, which is coming up, it's like we're 7-1. We're a pretty good team ourselves now. We're not bad, right? We've improved. We're this, we're that. And maybe you can feel comfortable making a few plays against the number one team in the country, right? And so I think, like we've already talked about, we're not going to keep dwelling on it, but it was destroyed. You know, the whole situation was FUBAR from the beginning. However, you have to give some credit to the coaching staff of trying to figure it out and winning a rivalry game. Rivalry games are not easy to win, especially a motivated Michigan State team that sees you kind of down. They want to come in. It's Smith's first opportunity. They want to make a stamp, and he wants to show, hey, this is what it's going to be moving forward. And they weren't able to do it. And the plays that needed to be made were made by Michigan.
So, DG, based on your reaction when Sam mentioned to you, I guess it was last week, about the advertisements in the stadium, you're like, I'm just here to watch the game. You probably don't know this stat. The last time a first-year Michigan head coach beat Michigan State in his first year was Benny Oosterbaugh in 1948.
Wow. That's crazy.
Not Bump Elliott, not Bo, not Mo, not Lloyd, right? Not obviously none of them.
Yeah.
1948.
That's crazy. That's a long time ago.
So you look at that. It was another part of the reason why
Michigan State did they also have a first-time coach?
In 48? I don't know. They might have. In 1995, they both had first-year coaches. It was Lloyd versus Saban.
Oh, yes.
And Michigan State won that one. Saban. But so all these things going into the game, you talk about, like you were talking about the excitement level, because the crowd showed up. I'll tell you that. The crowd was
that's what
awesome.
That's what it sounds like.
But there was, some trepidation in the Michigan fan base leading into the game. And part of it is how the team has played the last few weeks, and obviously a lot of question marks at quarterback, and how Michigan State came out of the bye week versus how Michigan did. And some of it was just that 1948 thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a long time.
Yeah.
So they snapped that one. They got that monkey off their back. They played fairly well. What about just the plan as far as like you saw with the play calling with the guys and balancing Alex and Davis? It felt like, especially as the game went along, they only ran 4 plays in the first quarter, so that wasn't a whole lot. But as the game progressed, the late drive in the first half, the first drive in the second half in particular, it felt like they were starting to get more comfortable in how they were using the two guys.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time. We talked about that from the beginning. Like, if this is going to be the way you play, it's going to take time to get a feel for when to use it. Because I'm just telling you, as much as Davis Warren and Alex Orji are friends and whatever, nobody wants to be taken out of the game when they're in the groove. Period. It's just your quarterbacks are the most selfishly unselfish people, right? Because you sacrifice, you do all this, you don't have friends because you got to study so much, you sacrifice a lot, but you're also very selfish in a way of like, hey, I'm going to be the guy that I put on this work. I will put in all this work because I want to be the guy that gets it done for my team, right? And so it's kind of a good selfish, and nobody wants to come out, right? You can ask any quarterback in the history of football, and if they tell you, yeah, I'm cool coming out all the time, They're lying to you.
Well, there's one position in football that generally does not come off the field.
You know what I mean? Like me and Denard, best of friends. Denard don't want to come out to let me come in and run deuce package. And vice versa. I mean, I never had to do that, but if somebody was coming in and, luckily I can run and throw, but if somebody was coming in, I would not be okay with that. Like, now we deal with it and we are great teammates about it and all that, but we're not going into the room like, hey, coach, you think somebody could come in for me every once in a while and do something that I'm maybe am not as good at doing and I just sit on the sideline and watch it? Heck no.
It does not happen.
Drew Brees did not go into Sean Payton and say, hey, man, this Taysom Hill, man, I really like him. Can we just kind of put him in sometimes every once in a while to try to – no, that's not what happened, and it will never happen. So, but for them to be such great teammates with each other and get it done and find a way is really impressive. So I really like the way that the way that it's going. Now, it's tough. Just like kind of I forgot what week it was where I was saying like, oh, it was Texas, right? It's like, man, it's tough because you're going to play against Texas. You're doing a new thing, and now you're going to try to work on it, but Texas is coming to town. Now you feel like you got to groove with this, and it's like, Oregon's coming to town, right? It's just so bad. It's so bad because it's hard to continue playing and calling plays the way you did against Michigan State. You just can't against Oregon.
Right, it's different.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, and not necessarily you can't. How comfortable will you be, right? Because everybody's talking about, they're going across country. They this, da. Man, I thought that same thing against Purdue, and they waxed them. Oh my goodness! I'm sitting. I called the game. I'm sitting there. I'm like, because I thought for sure, right? It was the perfect scene. Purdue fans had sold their tickets. It's half. It's mostly green, and they tried to do a blackout, but they can't because it's green and yellow everywhere. And I'm just like, 2013. I remember Michigan fans sold their tickets to Ohio State, and I came out and lit them up. Right, 42-41. We should have, not going to get involved. You're not going to go into that, but
still one of the gutsiest things we've ever
I'm
seen.
thinking like this is the perfect scene. Got a quarterback who they don't have much film on. He can run. He can throw. All these things. No. Dylan Gabriel was having none of that. When I tell you, he threw some of the best passes he's thrown all year in that game to start the game. They started 21-0. Now it started to slow down because they kind of pulled it.
Yeah.
And then somehow they put those points back on the board and end up beating them 35-0. So I don't think that they come into Michigan because the thing is with Dan Lanning, first of all, I like Dan Lanning a lot. But the thing with him is he wants to prove something. He's young, right? He's got that young kind of attitude of like, you think we can't? All right. Oh, you think we go? No, you think we're going to sleepwalk? Okay. We're going to come. And the cool thing about them is they got in super late to Indiana. And their coaches stayed up late night and had meetings with us. Most coaches say, hey, let's just do Zoom. We're going to get in late. They come from across, and this is kind of a message to coaches out there. This team came from across the country and still wanted to do meetings. You guys are like on the East Coast and you still don't do them, but it's fine. You want to do Zoom, it's cool. But I think that doing the meetings with them, and I'm just like, they are not using the whole flying across country, the whole we're this or that, and this team is motivated. They are not going to look past. And so for Michigan, if they're expecting Oregon that maybe they might look past them, that's not going to happen. 100% not going to happen. He wants to put on display in front of the entire country. It's going to be on the big show for, I think is it CBS or NBC? One of those, CBS or NBC. It's going to be their main deal. And they're going to try to show the entire country that we are who we say we are.
It's another CBS game this week.
Yep. So we're not going to sneak up on them. Right. And it's difficult to continue to work on something against a team that's so good. And I just hope that, there's no panic, if you will, no panic for the coaching staff, but they got to have the best plan. I can tell you that because Oregon is who they say they are. They are very good at football. Yeah. Oregon feels like they did this. I mean, now part of it is they went against a pretty good Boise team in the early part of the year as well. But that really helped. But they the offense was slowly clicking. The new quarterback from other plays. Be the best you are in the beginning. And I think that's what's happening for them. Remember I said that about Ohio State. They were the best they were week one. They're ascending. They were never ascending. Right. They were already top, and then you can only go down. Whereas Oregon, they were in a dogfight with Idaho, right? So they can only go up, and they've continued to ascend. Dylan Gabriel's gotten more comfortable. They scored on 3 plays that he suggested. That's how comfortable he's getting, right? Plays that he's thought of and suggested. They've scored on 3 of them this season. So they are getting to their peak. And the crazy thing, when they played Ohio State, everybody's like, oh my God, Oregon, they played against Ohio State. When you really watch the film, they didn't play well. That's terrifying.
Right. Ohio State played all right. Oregon didn't.
Ohio State played pretty good.
Yeah.
Oregon did not play well. They left
a lot.
So much on the field and still won the game. That's terrifying for the rest of the country. Terrifying.
We've had these conversations about Michigan last year.
Yeah,
we had that conversation about Michigan
and
last year.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's like, we haven't even played our best, and we're still winning somehow.
Yeah. When you're like, wait, they left all that on the field, and they won by
all that on the field. And so that's what when I watch the film with Oregon, it's like, because everybody was so high, and I'm just like, dude, they have so much further they can go. You have no idea. And then they beat them by 35, and then what is their next score? They beat somebody else by, like, they've been just pummeling people since then, and the number 1 team in the country coming into Michigan. So the goal will be keep the ball away, because once they get rolling with that high tempo and different things like that, it's hard to stop. So running game, finding a way to keep the ball out of their hands is the goal going into Saturday. 20
whatever minutes time of possession, and for Michigan isn't going to cut it this Saturday.
No. Actually, you know what? The thing is, this is the game where you have the most time of possession and you still get blown out because they score so fast.
Oregon scores.
Purdue had kept the ball a decent amount in that game, and it was for naught.
That's true. This has been the Driving Force Report, brought to you by Golden Limousine. For 31 years, Golden Limousine has been focused on the goal to provide safe, excellent, and reliable transportation services with a smile. You can find them online at goldenlimo.com. That's goldenlimo.com. We have more of Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner on the other side of the break here on the Big 1050 WTK. And Miz, just kill the commercials in our ears. Kill the commercial in our ears. There we go. All right. Staying on the stream. So, DG, you talked about, so this is a great time during the break. You talked about quarterbacks never want to come out. Did you see what happened with Anthony Richardson yesterday?
No.
He asked to come out. He said he was tired. He had a bunch of run around. The play got called back, and he's like, I need to blow. He has to come out. As soon as you started to talk about this, I thought about that from yesterday.
That would never happen for me.
Like, I don't know. I don't remember the full scenario.
You know how many times that I've been dog tired and it's like, just call a run play.
Right. I don't know the secret circumstance, but it doesn't matter. Like, you find a way.
Call a timeout. Whatever you want to do. But I'm gonna stay on the field. I never want to give anybody a chance to see someone else do my job. What is wrong with you? I hope he did. I don't know. I mean, I guess he did do that. I mean, that's insane. Never. It would never.
I wouldn't do that when the guy backing you up is Joe Flacco, who plays the game with a "I don't give a damn" attitude.
Because he got his money, he got his ring. Yeah. He's just going out there playing free, and that's terrifying for a guy that was in the position.
And that's how he plays. He's like, he throws it and he's like, I don't care.
I mean, if I throw a pick, what are you gonna do? Bench me?
I don't care. And it's touchdown halftime, but you're like, I don't care.
And then good things happen because of that. And it's just like, I don't. That's goofy.
Can you get a college quarterback playing that carefree?
I think Davis Warren can right now. You should be able to.
Can you play that carefree? Because you don't really the only guy behind you is the runner that you're going to be balancing the offense with, as opposed to a quarterback.
I think Davis Warren should. You've already been benched. Let it fly, right? Okay, you get benched again. You've experienced that. You made it through. You're fine. So let it fly and see what happens, and don't play with the fear of, man, I might be replaced if I do this. Because the thing is, if Michigan's smart, they're going to replace you next year anyway. Right? They better, right? And it's nothing against him. It's just like the level they're trying to get to, he can't get him there.
Steve Clark said this. Was it on the pregame show, He said this. Michigan has 3 third-string quarterbacks.
Yeah. Your job is essentially gone anyway next year, right? Let it rip. And then maybe, I don't know if this is possible, but maybe they say, shoot, we got one now, which I hope not, right? Somebody has to come in, right? They have to go get somebody, spend some money, do whatever they got to do. But for him right now, with a few games left, I don't see why he wouldn't just let it fly. He should be Joe Flacco right now. Obviously not as tall, not big as arm, but he should be Joe Flacco right now and say, hey, like, you already benched me. You're looking to replace me next year anyway. Let's roll. And that should be the galvanizing kind of cry for the whole team. Hey, they're looking to replace him anyway. Let's do it. Like the replacements, right? Shane Falco, let's go.
I was thinking about the scene in I can't remember. Well, we're actually not on the radio right now, so I could repeat part of it. But the scene in Major League where they're like, everyone's gonna either you better do it now because they're going to replace everybody with younger, new. Even me, yes, even you, Dorn, yeah,
even you.
Right. So they're going to look to, and it doesn't mean you're going to get replaced. Go out there and prove that you shouldn't be replaced.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
go prove, go earn your job.
That you, and it's not, and in today's college football, it's not just show Michigan that you shouldn't replace. You can go play somewhere else, right? You can go maybe a Toledo, some MAC school or wherever is like, or maybe Boise, right? They're like, we got a quarterback that's very similar to you. We'll take that. We'll take that in the Mountain West. We'll take that with a talent because they got another talented running back behind Ashton Genty that a lot of people don't know about. Yeah, I had Boise State game in the back. Don't worry about that. But, maybe Boise State says, shoot, we just had a quarterback that's a coach's son that, under-talented, if you will, and I'm doing air quotes, and he did just fine. And he made some throws and he made some mistakes and whatever. Why can't we do that with Davis Warren? You get to go back, tour where you're from and all that. So, I mean, I just think that everything is good if you just let it hang out. Everything is good for Davis Warren right now. Everything. Like, I don't think there's any downfall to you just Joe Flaccoing that thing up. Just go Joe Flacco it.
Yep.
Okay, we're going back.
He's standing by.
Yeah.
Back on radio in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we are back on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at thebig1050.com. Monday morning quarterback Devin Gardner is here, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. The resort is awesome. I love the golf. DG loves the spa. It's a great place to go to unwind and relax. Is where you find your true north. And DG, we were talking about going up there, the trip that you and were driving back with Miz. I don't want to bring that part of it back, but just going up there, the trip part of it and enjoying it and the relaxation. Missed our trips this year, so I'm looking forward to getting those trips back on the schedule in the very near future. But you can get up there for a nice relaxing weekend or maybe for a holiday weekend or start planning ahead for next year. GrandTraverseResort.com. That's GrandTraverseResort.com. No truer north.
I think they should put my name over the spa.
DG Spa.
No, maybe not DG Spa, but just like
DG was here.
Presented by Devin Gardner, kind of. Even though I'm not presenting it, it just seems like I love it so much that,
welcome to Devin.
Maybe that's wrong.
Devin's favorite place.
Devin's favorite place.
There you go.
Devin was here, but Devin's favorite place. I mean, something. I don't know. There's smarter people in the world than me that can think of catchy, cool things, but I just feel like, I love it so much, right? Like, I remember, like, at Brown Jug, I just ate the chicken tenders so much. Devin Gardner's chicken tenders, you know what I mean? It just seems like a natural progression, is what I'm saying.
I had a dish named after me there, but it was not something that I ate. And apparently a lot of other people didn't either because it's gone now. So got some questions coming in. And if you want to submit, if you're watching on the video stream, we're going to get to some of these questions now here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTK online at thebig1050.com. We have a super chatter in here from Munir. He said, sorry if I missed it, but why did this combo of Warren Orji not work as well early in the year? Simply turnovers, or is it more like offensive line cohesion, coaching, et cetera?
There was no combo. There was Davis Warren is the quarterback and we're going to throw the ball all the time and all these different things. That's what they wanted to do. And so the combo couldn't work because you didn't bring Orji in much, right? You brought him in a little bit, but I just think he had a much more prominent role. And like we talked about, it's a progression of learning how to call a 2-quarterback type of system. And I think they're starting to figure out, like I talked about earlier, though, it's tough that Oregon's coming in because as you're trying to figure it out and you're getting better at it, you got the number one team in the country coming in. It's just it's not a recipe for great success. And so it'll give you kind of the illusion like, oh man, they still haven't gotten it figured out, but it may be just like, this is the number one team in the country. And that's why it doesn't look like it's figured out, but the week after, it could be a little better.
Does it get a whole lot better when they play on the road at Indiana the next week?
Man, dude, you want to know what? I didn't know they had Indiana the next week. That is not good. Indiana's good.
So
Indiana's really good.
That's why when we were doing the pregame show on Saturday and Steve was going, he's like, the Michigan State game is and he wasn't trying to be disparaging to anybody, but if you rank the last 5 opponents 1 through 5, 5 is Northwestern, 4 is Michigan State. The other 3 are Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon.
Gosh, I did not realize.
And 2 of those 3, Indiana and Oregon, or Indiana and Ohio State, are on the road. That's the remainder of the schedule. For those that are not watching the video stream right now, the look on Devin's face when he realized what the remainder of the schedule.
This season has gone by so fast.
Yeah, and 2/3 of the schedule is done.
Why are we got 3 or 4 games
left. 4 games left.
And we're sitting here like, yeah, we're still working through some things. That's not good. However, man, that's devastating. Who's next?
So it's Oregon, Indiana, and Oregon at home, Indiana on the road. Bye week, then Northwestern at home, and then Ohio State on the road. Final 4 games. That's your final third of the season.
And the thing about Northwestern is it's not a cakewalk. I can tell you that.
No, but it was still the 5th of the 5 on the list.
It's the 5th of the 5, but it's not a cakewalk. Their quarterback is kind of like a galvanizing thing where he was there and he didn't win the job, but it seems like the team really wanted him to have the job, and the other guy was a little more flashy, a little better, throwing the ball, I guess. And then he doesn't play well, and then they put this guy in that can run, he's strong, and all these things, and he doesn't go down, he doesn't slide, and the team has kind of gotten behind it. So that's not going to be a cakewalk. Let's just be clear about that. As much as it's Northwestern.
I don't think there was a cakewalk any left in the schedule once we got past week 1, and we realized we're like, okay, Arkansas State. We're like, I don't know if there's a cakewalk left after what we've seen.
Honestly, we were talking like Arkansas State is not a cakewalk. I didn't think it was a cakewalk. I thought it was, you should beat them handily and all that. But because of what we have already shown, it's like, for us, that's not a cakewalk.
But there was not going to be a cakewalk in the entire conference slate.
Yeah, that's stressful. That's really stressful. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Sorry, DG. I didn't mean to bring that to you.
Oh, my goodness. But
Indiana's pretty good.
But we can only live in right now. And right now, they've shown an improvement in all facets as far as the quarterback, and Davis Warren, like we said, played well. Alex Orji, like we said, played well, and they called a good game, right? The one thing that you have to know is it has to be steady improvement. They have to continue to improve because, like we talked about, the number 1 team in the country is coming in, and then Indiana's probably going to be top 7 by the time we play them, top 5 maybe, right?
They're trying to get to the top 10 . They're getting their inch in there.
We'll see later today, but
they're still 13. The polls are Sunday. They're still 13. And I guess this week more than anything else is because there was not a whole lot. And I don't think so either, but there was not a lot of shaking going on around in this week. It was not a crazy week in college football.
You know what's so impressive? They should be higher because they did it without
the quarterback. Yeah, it was the backup quarterback.
They did it without their quarterback. They look like the exact same team, maybe better.
They're playing the Spittoon game this week against Michigan State, and then they play Michigan next week.
Rivalry and all that. It could be
Spittoon game.
Spittoon.
So
it's a trophy, right? Is it not?
It is for a trophy. It's a spittoon, but it is a trophy.
It's a spittoon.
But it's a trophy.
It's not the trophy. It's a trophy.
It's a trophy. Yes, it's a trophy, not the trophy. Really just like when Michigan plays Northwestern. It's actually, and that trophy is actually kind of cool.
Like
it spins, but it's a trophy.
Yeah,
it's
a trophy. It's a trophy.
Joel asked a question. He says, "Are we beating Oregon? What's our advantages in the matchup? Are there any advantages in the matchup? I'm not sure."
No, the advantage is Joe Flacco.
That mentality, right? Having
that mentality, being able to just do whatever, right? And because you
home game.
Going in, I don't think there are many chances. No, that's not gonna be right. Home game, I guess. Yeah, okay, we can roll with that.
It's the only thing you got. You get to sleep in your own. Well.
Nope. You go to a hotel. That's what people say. And when you're in college, you never get to sleep in your own bed, no matter what.
True.
So
that's why I stopped myself.
Sometimes, some people's beds aren't that great. So maybe even sleeping in a hotel bed could be better.
Some hotels are great.
Yeah. But I don't think that they beat Oregon. Let's leave with that. However, the chance is, hey, you get trick plays, screens, different things, get them out of their comfort zone, keep their offense on the sideline. And Dylan Gabriel has done well. He's been outstanding. He's in the Heisman race, of course. He's probably going to be in New York at the end of the season. But he has had instances where he's turned the ball over in critical situations in the red zone. Now, he hasn't done it the last couple of weeks, but that's something that he has done. And, maybe being on the road in the biggest stadium in the history of college football and all that, maybe that will get to him. Probably not. I know him personally. He is about as straightforward, poised, smart, like self-aware. He's like the perfect combination of humility and ability and also just competitive fire. So I've seen him up close compete with high school, college guys. And I've also seen him give a win to a guy that's a fan of his, right? So the humility and all those different things, when you're very humble, but you also have that fire, you don't ever go into a situation thinking that you are so much better than a team or there's no chance you can lose, right? And so when you have that attitude and it's the leader of your team and the team respects him, he can put that into the rest of the guys that are maybe like the guy from the Bears who wants to, chirp at the crowd and do all the extra stuff and look past the team. Whereas it's like, no, we're not doing that, right? And that's what he did when they went into Purdue. And I imagine that's what he's going to do again. So, I don't think you're going to get an Oregon team that looks past Michigan. If you're going to beat Oregon, you're going to have to beat them. You're going to have to beat them this week, and that's going to be tough. And so to answer the question in short form, there aren't a whole bunch of advantages. The one advantage I would say is a quarterback that can play free because he's not afraid of what could happen anymore because he's already been benched, and they've already made it very public that they're looking for another quarterback for next year to give them $3 and $4, $5, $6, $7, $10, $20 million. So obviously you won't be playing quarterback for Michigan next year.
We're going to get back to Oregon in a second, but I'm curious your thoughts on the other big game or the big game in the Big Ten this weekend, the Ohio State and Penn State matchup. What you thought about that?
I have no idea. I don't know what they're going to, and so I wonder what the quarterback health is from Penn State.
Yeah, Aller's status is a question.
But because he started to play really well. I mean, he's not the check down king as much anymore, and their new coordinator that came from Kansas, he's really, really good. He's really good.
I feel like Kansas misses him.
What? Tell me about it.
Because
everybody thought, he won't work in the Big Ten, or
well, they're like one in whatever.
It's not him. It's really, and it's just like, no, Koto-Nicky's really good. I'm telling you, I've watched the film and studied it. It's like, this is stuff that works no matter where you are. And obviously he had to do a little more fancy stuff because of the talent level at Kansas. But when you go to Penn State with all this talent and all this great recruiting and stuff, he doesn't need to do as much of that stuff, but it's good to have because it still hurts defenses. So that's the question. How healthy is their quarterback? But if their quarterback's healthy, I think it's a really good game. Ohio State, like I said, they were very good, but they have not a whole lot, but they slowly but surely decreased in their ability and their talent. I mean, not necessarily in their talent, and just
their production.
Yeah, it's tough to stay at that level for so long, and that's why for Michigan it was so impressive last year because you went to the playoff back-to-back years, so we know the level you're at to start the season, and they stayed at that level somehow. Never dipped, in my opinion. They stayed at that level and win the national championship. That just doesn't happen, right? You usually are the team that you're really, really good, talented, but you're not quite there yet. Okay. Gradually, and especially with transfers and things like that, Ohio State was at the top, and they always do this. They're always really good to start, and it's nowhere to go from there. The ceiling, you're hitting your head up against your ceiling. It's high, but you're hitting your head. So where do you got to go? You got to go down, and so I think that they have gone down, and so I think it's a really even game. If you would have got this game in the beginning of the season, I wouldn't say it was even at all. I think Ohio State wins by 3 scores. However, at this point, like we talked about with Oregon continue to get better. Penn State has continued to get better as the season's gone on. And so now I think this is an even matchup. And if I'm a bettor, I don't want to bet this. I don't want to bet this. I have no idea. I have no idea what could happen because Ohio State has shown weakness in their defensive backfield. And they've got a receiver for Penn State who is not playing great, but he's going to be motivated because he came from Ohio State. He's the number 1 receiver in the country, number 3 or 4 player in the country, and he wants some get back. You guys replaced me 10 times over. Should have known that would happen. If you don't perform, it's Ohio State. However, he wants some get back, and their DBs, and he knows their DBs. I'm sure in one-on-ones in practice, he's beating their DBs quite frequently, right? Maybe he hasn't performed well in the game, but it's their defensive backfield has shown a propensity to give up big plays ever since the Oregon game. It's like, we can, because teams are kind of scared, like, man, it's man-to-man coverage, so let's not attack. Oh, no. They can be attacked. And I think Penn State has the weapons that they could do it. So that's tough. And then Will Howard, it's like that fan base is getting heavy. That back is getting heavy, right? They make the plays, do it. We paid you. You came here. Do it. And the run game, it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I want to be able to watch it. My game's at 12. That sucks.
Head to head. I know we're on pregame, so we'll have to figure out what to watch it while we're doing pregame on Saturday. Aller's health status at quarterback's a big question, and then Ohio State left tackle. Their starting left tackle is their best lineman. He's done for the year, and it looks like they might be down their next left tackle.
That defensive front,
and so it's really impacted their running game. So I wanted your thoughts on that game because that obviously is a huge game in the Big Ten this week. Huge game in CFP
and college football. Yeah.
It could be in
the Big Ten race. It's 3 versus 4, right?
Yep. And in the playoff race, it will not necessarily eliminate Ohio State. With 2 losses, they can still get their way in. But for
not.
I don't know either, but they could.
Yeah, of course.
But in the Big Ten race, a loss probably eliminates them altogether. They do play Indiana.
That's crazy.
But a loss for a Penn State win would probably knock Ohio State out of going to Indy because they'd have 2 losses with 3 games to go.
Ira, that's crazy.
Oregon has the tiebreaker over them.
Ohio State may not even get a chance to play for a Big Ten championship.
If Penn State beats them and Oregon beat them, they would have the odds on favorite. And then they play Indiana. Indiana plays Ohio State in a few weeks, so they would obviously have some impact on that. But Ohio State is a loss away from the
Big Ten championship could well be Michigan.
Yeah, because their chance at a Big Ten championship appearance could be over on Saturday.
It could. That's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
Especially the way we came into the season. That's crazy.
It's pretty wild. All right, so back to Michigan, Oregon here on the Monday Morning Quarterback on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTK online at thebig1050.com. How would you attack Oregon's defense? With Michigan's offense. I guess I have to add that part too.
That's tough. That's a tough thing, man. They don't I don't think Michigan has the tools to, because as much as everybody talks about Oregon's offense, their defense is good. Really good. Like their defensive backfield is really good. Their linebackers are really good. And their defensive front. That's the most important part.
They're built to join the Big Ten.
They're built for the Big Ten. And I didn't think they were to start the season because I hadn't watched them enough. And then I kind of looked at them losing to Washington twice and then we destroying them the way we did. And it's just like, how did you let that happen? Like, how did you lose to this team twice? They're not very physical and all that. And so they've addressed that.
Mm-hmm.
They got the big dude from Detroit that was at Michigan State. He's at Oregon now in the inside. They've done a lot of what they've done without their best defensive player, Birch. He's been out, and they've continued to dominate and play so well in the trenches. And Uiagalelei is terrifying. I'm just telling you, better be a lot of quicks. Ball has to be out because Uiagalelei, I wasn't a big fan of him out of high school. I thought he was good, but it's like, you're playing against high school kids. I don't really believe in that as much. And then it's just like, you're okay. This kid is a really good pass rusher, a really good football player, and he's the brother, obviously, of Uiagalelei, the quarterback. Whatever you think of his brother, leave that out. This kid's good, right? Athletic, poised, and his attention to detail. Their defensive coordinator is crazy, right? So his attention to detail is really good, especially for a young guy. So I think the ball needs to be out for sure because you're gonna be playing more than one quarterback if it's not. Right. And it's not because he's making mistakes. It's because he's going to kill our quarterbacks. It's almost like the Penn State game. Remember last year, JJ was going to get killed if we continue to drop him back.
Could not block on the edge.
Couldn't block him. And so it's a lot of that same thing where these guys are relentless. They are big. They're strong. They're athletic. They had a big guy inside. I forgot his name. He's a big guy, huge. And just quick movement skills. And it's weird because he's so big, he shouldn't be moving like that. And so up front, where we would want to have the edge is where we do not have the edge. So that's terrifying going into this game.
It looked like the offensive line in this game, pass protection anyway, for Michigan was was better than it had been. Yeah. The run blocking, and maybe that's a lot of it because of how Michigan State was selling out to stop
more
the
guys
run. But it seemed like the pass protection did take a step forward in this game. And so I know we're going to week 9 and we're kind of grasping, but here we are. That's what we're doing.
I love it.
We're trying to, it's funny because last year going into this time of year, Michigan hadn't played anybody.
Yeah. And everybody was questioning, and I was telling you guys, it's fine. Don't worry about that.
And this year, if you hadn't played anybody, you would be having a different reaction to it, even if you had a bunch more wins. But we'll kind of, as we get towards the end of the Monday Morning Quarterback segment and the way you're talking about Oregon right now, I asked this question last year because when you get to November, and here we are, we're getting to football games being played in November. When you get into November, you generally look and can see that's an elite team, and that's it, right? And you kind of know who's kind of rising to that. Last year, you knew that, from the national perspective, Michigan's rising up, Washington's rising up. I asked a question last year, can you notice it if it's you? And I think we learned last year that it's hard to notice it if it's you because you pick out your own words constantly. Of
course.
This year, a little different because Michigan has more things to really and there's more things to diagnose. It could be Oregon this year. I hope to not find that out on Saturday, but it could be Oregon this year.
That's an elite team.
That is the elite team or one of the couple of elite teams at the time.
I'm telling you right now, Oregon's elite team.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think Indiana still has more to do.
I just want to see it that elite on Saturday.
I know, right? Indiana still has a little more to do before I can say they're an elite team, but I'm just telling you,
they're good.
Whatever the step right behind elite is like really, 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 really good. They are that. They are super impressive to watch the way they play football and the way they offensively, defensively, especially all those things. So and another team that, obviously not in the Big Ten, but Iowa State, man, They are looking like an elite team. They are like Michigan 2 years ago.
I want to see Iowa State BYU undefeated in a Big 12 championship game.
Dude, Iowa State they remind me so much of not 21 but 22 Michigan, where it's just like find a way to win always. Right? No matter when we had that close game against Illinois and all, find a way to win always and never really feel like you're in trouble of lose. You know, it never feels like imminent danger. Like it doesn't feel like you're gonna lose the game, but you obviously can. But they're in complete control, and they've won in a multitude of different ways. They've been really impressive. Their quarterback Rocco Becht has played really well. He had his opportunity to have that moment where we're down, we got to go down and score, and he figures it out against UCF. So they're really good too, and yeah. It's some good football teams around.
Well, DG, hopefully next week we're having a shocking conversation. How about that? Let's have a shocking conversation next week.
Joe Flacco goes crazy.
Let's go,
Davis.
Joe Flacco.
There we go,
Davis.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the Michigan Insider and Monday Morning Quarterback Devin Gardner, who has been brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. We'll see everybody tomorrow here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at thebig1050.com.